Thank you. I'm Deb Travers. I'm the CEO of Polyaurum. We are a preclinical stage biotechnology startup spun out of Penn, and we're developing biodegradable gold nanoparticles to treat cancer. Of the 1.7 million Americans who are diagnosed with cancer every year, about half of them get radiation therapy. But for certain locally advanced tumors, such as the ones in the circle at the top of the slide, there's a very high rate of recurrence, and this leads to disease progression and death. And I saw this firsthand with my little friend Aiden. He was a baby when he was diagnosed with glioblastoma. And over the course of his short life, he failed surgery with radiation, radiation alone, and radiation therapy combined with chemotherapy. His entire life was a giant clinical trial, and it doesn't have to be that way, and I think our technology can make a difference. So why do I think that? Because we have two animal models, one in glioblastoma and one in sarcoma, where we've seen significant improvements in survival in mice that got gold nanoparticles with their radiation therapy versus those who got radiation therapy alone. And in the mouse sarcoma model, we actually saw complete and enduring disappearance of tumors in a number of the mice. So why does radiation therapy fail? Ionizing radiation is applied to a tumor. It creates free electrons or free radicals, which breaks DNA and causes cell death. The higher the dose of radiation you give to a patient, the more effective you are at killing the tumor. But this comes at tremendous cost to the patient in the form of life-altering or life-threatening side effects. And when we interviewed radiation oncologists as we were starting the company, they told us that radiation therapy has pretty much reached its therapeutic limits. So that's where our gold nanoparticles come in, and this is why we think we can help. Here's a patient with a brain tumor, and when ionizing radiation is applied to that tumor, you get cracks and holes punched in the lining of that tumor. And this allows gold nanoparticles, once they're infused, to accumulate selectively in that tumor, but not in the healthy tissue surrounding it. And this is through something that we've termed radiation-enhanced penetration and accumulation. So let's look at that at the cellular level. At the top, you see normal tissue with very tight spaces between the cells. And at the bottom, you see tumor tissue, which is very disrupted and leaky. So unlike small molecules, which can get into both kinds of tissue and cause off-target side effects, our gold nanoparticles are of a size that they only get into the tumor tissue. And once there, they amplify the number of those free radicals that are created. I call this the aluminum foil in the microwave effect. And you get a much more intensified effect inside the tumor, but not outside the tumor because the gold can't get there. So we think this could have three important implications for patients. The first is for tumors that are resistant to radiation therapy, you might be able to use the same dose and get a much stronger effect. For tumors that are already sensitive to radiation therapy and for whom you might want to limit the radiation dose for younger patients, you could use a smaller dose of radiation and get the same effect. And then as radiation treatment continues, that radiation-enhanced penetration and accumulation intensifies, and we think that we'll probably be able to shorten the duration of therapy, which is very important. These patients typically are treated for 5 to 8 weeks, depending on the type of the tumor. So previous approaches with gold nanoparticles have all failed, and it turns out that size matters. The large gold nanoparticles produce an excellent therapeutic effect, but they can't be eliminated from the body. And once in the body, they pool in the liver, the kidneys, the spleen, and cause interference with the function of those organs. Small gold nanoparticles are very excretable, but they are in and out of the body so quickly you can't get any kind of a therapeutic effect. So what we've done is create a fake large gold nanoparticle. What we do is take those small gold nanocrystals and we embed them in a biodegradable polymer. Clusters of them in this biodegradable polymer, which allows you to get enough gold into the tumor for a really good therapeutic effect, but then the polymer degrades over the course of a week, and those small gold nanoparticles are released and excreted from the body. Our technology is covered by a patent, which is currently under review at the patent office. It covers composition of matter and diagnostic and therapeutic uses. We filed the national level patents last year, and Polyaurum has an exclusive option to the license. And I'm pleased to say that we are in the final, well, we've finished the negotiations, and I'm waiting for something to sign, which I'm hearing will be very, very shortly. So our commercial strategy is to pursue the therapeutic indications. Gold is a very nice contrast agent, but probably a little too expensive to be used routinely. So we're going to pursue those therapeutic indications and try to out-license the diagnostic indications to a company that's purely focused on imaging. Of that $5 billion market, which is the total addressable market in the first slide, we think we can capture about 900 million of that in the US alone. So obviously there's tremendous upside potential when we add additional territories and additional tumors. If you look at what is desirable when you're developing something like this, you want something with a low risk of toxicity and something that's compatible with radiotherapy regimens. One of the things radiation oncologists told us is don't introduce new equipment, don't change our procedures because you're creating an abnormally high barrier for us to change our practices. So unlike many of our competitors, our simplicity, we think, is our biggest advantage. We are not using any cytotoxic drugs or biologicals, which carry significant risks of toxicity, and we fit into current radiotherapy regimens using the linear accelerators that they're accustomed to using and an IV infusion for dosing. Right now, we're in the middle of optimizing the formulation and validating that in animal models. After that, we will move into IND-enabling toxicology and pharmacology studies, and also the manufacturing scale-up and validation. And that will allow us to move into the clinic. And we hope to accelerate the clinical phase, taking advantage of all of the many avenues the FDA provides for accelerating oncology product development, and also through the use of some very creative clinical trial designs. We're already thinking of exits, and the first potential point would probably be at the time we file the IND, and the next, but more likely it would probably be during the early phases of clinical studies. We've started identifying companies. Frankly, some of these have already been eliminated from our list, and we're in the process of beginning discussions with some of the instrument manufacturers. We're very encouraged by recent early stage exits, ranging from $73 million to $425 million upfront plus milestones. We've got a great team in place right now. I joined the company in December of 2015 after 30 years in the diagnostics and drug industries. And my four co-founders, David Cormo, Jay Dorsey, Andrew Chorkas, and Rabia Cheltani, have decades of experience developing nanomedicines. We're in the process of bringing on a chief scientific officer and a technician to start doing the work in our own facility. We're looking to raise $2.7 million in a seed round, and we've already gotten $425,000 in grants. We are in final stages of due diligence, and actually with one angel group in the Philadelphia area, we have a commitment already to fund, and we think the other two will follow very shortly. We're looking for matching funds from local Philadelphia early VCs and also from the New York area, which is why we're here today. And what we've offered to the first three angel groups is a convertible debt funding with a cap and a discount and auto conversion. We think that we have many compelling reasons for you to invest in Polyaurum. First of all, we already have efficacy proof of concept. Our safety risks are fairly low. We know we don't have gold accumulating in the body. Gold and the polymer are already used in other FDA and EMA approved devices, and we don't have any cytotoxic drugs to worry about there. We don't have any barriers to adoption in the radiation oncology suite. We're running very virtually, And we're already engaging the next round of investors and potential partners, which will carry us into the clinic. And I bring that 30 years of experience in developing and commercializing these types of products. So with that, I will end.